In today's video, I want to help you break some common sales myths that many people have in business. So there are 5 typical common sales myths that people carry that stop them from being effective in a sales conversation. So let's dive into understanding what these 5 common sales myths are. The first most common sales myth is that if you want to be good at sales, you need to have good convincing capability. In fact, I've heard people propagate this convince or confuse philosophy in sales, which is total crap, by the way. Think about it. Are people foolish to spend money on something they're confused about? Or are people foolish to spend money on something that you're going to be shoving down their throat because you're good at convincing capability? People are not foolish. Here's the truth. The more you try to convince somebody, the more they convince themselves that they should not buy from you because they can't trust you when you're pushing down your product or service down their throat. Now, if convincing is not the right way, what's the right way? The right way of selling is to care for your customer. Nothing convinces the customer more than genuine intention of care. When you care to do what is right for the customer, then the customer will convince themselves. When you care for the customer's needs, desires, problems, pain points, and showcase to them how your product or service can solve that, then the customer makes that decision to buy. So it's not about you being some convincing hero, it's about you caring for the needs of your customers that makes them buy. So that was the first myth that I want you to shatter. The second myth that a lot of people carry in sales, that sales is about having great presentation skills. You got to be prim and proper and you got to present every single slide of your PowerPoint presentation and you got to describe every single point in the product highlights that you have. No. Sales is not about presentation skills. Sales is not some dance performance that you have to perform and your customer says kya baat to you. It's about conversation skills. Sales is a two-way conversation. It's not a one-way presentation or a performance. And the critical skills for you to be good at conversational skills is you need to be good at asking meaningful questions and listening. It's more about your customer speaking than about you speaking. So that's a common myth that a lot of people carry, that they feel they have to do a good job. They have to speak 90% of the time in a sales meeting. No, you don't speak more than 35% of the time in a sales meeting. 65% of the time the customer needs to be speaking and you need to be listening. And for the customer to speak 65% of the time, in that 35% of the time you need to ask effective questions and summarize what you heard from the customer. So kill that myth of sales is about being good at presentation skills. It's not about that. Which brings me to the third common myth many people have in sales. And the third common myth many people have in sales is that you got to be good at negotiation, and being good at negotiation means you get what you want, you don't reduce your price or you don't do anything extra for the customer. You need to win no matter what. Now, if that's your thought process on negotiation, that you need to win no matter what and you shouldn't give anything to the customer, you're screwed, my friend, because you're going to lose customers or you're going to close deals and have a lot of unhappy customers. Remember this, the truth is negotiation means giving what the customer wants, getting what you want, and arriving at a midpoint where both parties are happy. If you and the customer walk out of that negotiation conversation being unhappy, then that was a pathetic negotiation interaction. True negotiation is giving and receiving. True negotiation is creating joy of partnering and continuing the conversation or closing the deal, where the joy needs to be carried by the customer and by you. That's what true negotiation is. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about negotiation and how do you handle customers who are bargaining with you, then I would like to invite you to a 2.5-hour interaction with me called the Business Success Workshop. The Business Success Workshop is a 2.5-hour workshop where I teach the 4 types of businesses: owner-driven businesses, team-driven businesses, money-driven businesses, and system-driven businesses. And I talk about what's the difference between a survival business and a growth business, where I break down how important marketing and sales is and how do you deal with this negotiation animal that you get scared of. And finally, I teach you 3 focus areas that you need to focus on to be able to grow your business. So if you think this content is relevant to your business, then make sure you click on the link below and register yourself right now for the Business Success Workshop, because it is a 2.5-hour interaction which can change the direction of your thinking and actions and eventually your results. So click on the link and register right now while we go back to the conversation of 5 common sales myths that people carry. So Coming back to the 5 common sales myths that people carry. Myth number 1, like I mentioned, people think that sales is about having good convincing capability, and I've shattered that for you. It's about caring for the customer. Myth number 2, people think that sales is about being good at presentation skills. It's actually about being good at conversation skills. And myth number 3 is where people think negotiation is only about you winning and getting what you want, but the truth is negotiation is about making sure that both you and the customer are happy when you close the deal, and that requires both of you to give, both of you to receive something and arrive at that midpoint of joy. Which brings me to the 4th most common myth that people have in sales. I've heard too many people say, Rajiv, I'm not a born salesman. Sales is not my cup of tea. Now this is a big notion. People think that you got to have some inborn genetics inside you to be able to be effective at sales. That's a lie, that's a myth. There's nothing called as a born salesman. There's no hospital on the planet where they give you a certificate saying, here's a sales certificate, badhai ho, sales wala paida hua hai. That doesn't happen. Every hospital only gives birth certificate. Nobody gives sales certificate. So there's no born salesman. The truth is this, salesmen are not born. Salesmen are built. They are built through conversations, they are built through practice, they are built through learning, they are built through rejections, they are built through experience. So you got to go out there and expose yourself to sales conversations, embrace those rejections, learn from every sales conversation, expand your awareness, expand your understanding of what works for the customer, and that's how you become a competent salesperson. So take that notion that sales is not your cup of tea and you're not a born salesman and throw it in the dustbin. It's a meaningless myth that is stopping you from doing one of the most critical things in business, which is selling. A salesman are built, remember that. Now before we go to the 5th and final myth, let's quickly review the 4 points so far. First myth, sales means you need to be good at convincing capability. Not at all. Second myth, presentation skills is critical as a salesperson. Not at all. Third myth, in negotiation, you need to win. You need to get your way out. Not at all. Fourth myth, you need to be a born salesman. Can't happen. Now, if you're already falling in love with the quality of the content that I'm sharing with you on this video, then you fulfill your responsibility, your karma as a good audience, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. So make sure you do that right away, and let's go into the 5th and final myth that people carry in sales. The 5th and final myth that many business owners carry or many sales leaders carry in sales is that they believe only they can sell. They believe nobody else on the team can sell like the way they can sell, and that's why they treat sales as a personal activity and they don't look at building teams in sales. This is the biggest disastrous move you can make for your business, because think about it. If you are the only salesperson on your team, then sales is not scalable for your business. And if sales is not scalable, then income is not scalable. If income is not scalable, business is not scalable. So stop treating yourself as this sales superhero and instead build a sales army. Handcraft a sales team. It's a process. It's not a one-day exercise where you hire someone, teach them about your product, and they'll start selling. Commit yourself to the process of mentoring and chiseling and sculpting sales armies, because only when you have sales teams or you are digitizing your sales is sales scalable. If you're the only salesperson on the team and you think that's the coolest thing that can happen to your business, that's the most foolish thing that can happen to your business. So stop being the only salesperson for your business. That's a big myth that a lot of business owners carry, and they proudly wear that as a badge of honor and go out in the market, but they are not consistent. And when you're not consistent, income's not consistent. So please, 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 please build sales armies. Very, very important. So with that, I hope you found these 5 sales myths useful for you to shatter it in your head, set yourself free, liberate yourself to explore a next level capability for yourself in sales. And if you found it valuable, then continue the learning journey, because I look forward to seeing you at the Business Success Workshop. Make sure you've clicked and registered yourself for the Business Success Workshop, because there's more waiting for you there. Let's continue the learning journey. Let's continue the conversation. Let me help you build a scalable, profitable business. Click on the link. I'll see you at the Business Success Workshop.